Greetings and salutations, folks. My name is Nick, and welcome back to Chicken Police Painted Red. Their names were inked in legend, Sonny Featherland and Marty McChicken. Together, they were the Chicken Police, united at last in one common cause to solve a case on another New Year's Eve night. Now there was a body, deposited to be left to waste in the hive. Who was that person? Where did they came from? Only by solving the identity of this missing individual could the Chicken Police find out who killed Deborah and who's threatening Natasha Katzenko. My theory at the moment is that the dead body belongs to Molly. Sonny's love interest. I feel like that's the most noir choice. But first, let's go to Bubo because we need to find out about the wristband. Unfortunately, Ursula is there. But Ursula seems to be helping us.
Dear? Oh, what's the rush? Is there something wrong?
Wrong? That dim-witted, insane, ragged old stinky owl. That's what's wrong.
Whoa. It's all right, Ursula. Just tell us what happened.
What happened? You happened. And Westler's goons. It was supposed to be the only day of the year we could have relaxed a little.
We're sorry, Ursula. You're right.
Like I care, Marty. I'm tired of this. Tired of the bitter old owl, and I'm tired of waiting.
And?
Never mind. I'm going. This time, I'm going for good.
Hang in there, Ursula. And if there's anything we can do to help.
Anything? Of course there is, my dear. I never want to see your faces again.
Ouch. I'm gonna try to talk to the old owl, all right?
Good luck with that.
Oh, and Ursula, thanks for all you've done for us. With the car.
You know, I'm starting to regret it.
That was...
Rough.
yeah.
But understandable. I only see Bubo once a year, and even that's way too much.
A lot of people feel the same about us.
Yeah. Oh, Ursula's just not in the room anymore. Bubo, buddy, pal.
What do you know about this wristband, Bubo?
Zip said they gave these to patients in hospitals. That's why we came back to you.
Something similar, yes, but not exactly the same. It's different.
And?
And what?
Well, what do you think? Where's this from?
How the hoot would I know, Sonny? What am I, some kind of psychic? That I put my hands on it and tell you?
Yes,
Okay, let's
and that
try
a
another
medical
approach.
professional knows where every single wristband has ever been assigned.
Do you have any idea why Wessler's men were looking for Zip so hard?
I don't. How should I know? Why should I care?
He had to hide a body. The body of someone Wessler killed. The wristband is from the corpse.
Really?
Does that
That
change
rang a bell,
things?
old owl.
Well, boys, if I'm right, you're in deep shit.
I mean, if you're
more like
wrong, I mean,
Tell
that
us,
probably
Bubo.
hasn't changed.
So, Wessler, the wristband, and a corpse, huh? It looks very much like I know the connection. Or at least I have a hunch.
Out with it, Owlface.
Okay, don't peck me, chickens. Hobart Ibn Wessler has a relative who happens to be a resident at an insane asylum. The band is very likely from there.
Wait, a relative? What kind of relative?
You don't know? I thought you were the detectives. Anyway, Ibn Wessler has a twin brother, Albert.
A twin?
Albert Wessler.
You put it together very skillfully, Marty.
Wait.
Yes, Albert Wessler. He's a madman kept in solitary confinement.
Hold on. Is Ibn Wessler, the one that we met in the nightclub, actually Albert Wessler pretending to be Ibn Wessler? Ibn Wessler is actually the corpse that was deposited, under the presumption that that's actually Albert Wessler. But Albert actually got Ibn killed, which would also then perhaps explain his wrath against Natasha Katsenko. Because, like, he looks at Natasha as somebody who stole the company from under Ibn. Also, isn't that just a trope, like, of mysteries? Like, the idea that there's a twin? Like, that's one of the things with, I don't want to spoil the movie, so I'm just not going to name the title. There was a recent detective story in which, like, halfway through the movie, a twin is revealed. And it's like, how do you know that in advance?
Do you think he's the corpse? But why?
No, I think Ibn
How
Wessler's
hell
the
should
corpse.
I know that.
Thanks, Bubo. If what you told us is true, then this time we'll owe you one.
Will one
Which is also why
never cease?
he's kind of shifted all of his businesses to somebody else, is because he doesn't know his businesses. So, huh. I don't actually have a location to go to.
That rat you mentioned was Zip.
Should I be surprised or what?
Or
I
what?
knew it was him.
Yeah, we knew you knew.
What
And
did that old
I
raccoon
knew
do this
you
time?
knew.
Ibn was
I
blackmailing you with
knew.
something. That's what we wanted to ask you. Do you know anything about it?
I don't care about Wessler's dealings, Sonny. I patch up whoever winds up here, and I don't care if they're cops or gangsters. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Or gangster cops.
Yeah, it's the
Or
same
cop.
thing.
Yeah, brother.
Or cop gangsters.
So, Albert Wessler. Which asylum do you mean, Bubo?
It's got some fancy long name. I don't remember, but I have a brochure. Let me find
Insane
it.
asylums do brochures.
Thanks, Bubo.
Well, here it is. Let there be peace forever. Mental institution for ill and damaged minds. Quite a big fool.
What was the name of the school in Zoolander? For children who want to learn how to read good?
Where can we find it? I've never heard of it.
It's a good 6-hour drive from Clawville. Maybe more. But you'll find everything in the brochure.
You're the best, Bubo. You finally proved useful.
Well, Bubo also removed the
Finally,
shotgun
get your
pellets
chicken
from
scratchers out of here while I'm asking nicely.
Sonny after he got shot.
What's that, Bubo?
If that someone was really Albert Wessler, the trouble's bigger than you think.
It's always bigger than we think, Bubo. We're used to it.
You don't understand. Ibn Wessler never loved and respected anyone in his life like he did his brother Albert.
So what?
Then the problem's bigger than we thought. A cornered rat bites.
Well, thanks for worrying about us, Doc. But there's no way back from here. Too far, too late.
We're like hounds, old man. Once we've caught someone's leg, we never let it go.
Ooh, not while you're alive, eh?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, goodbye then, fellas. And I wouldn't mind if you never visited me again.
The pleasure was all ours, Doc.
And God willing, we'll all meet again in Chicken Police 2. The search for... Actually, there is a Chicken Police 2 on the way, The Hive. So who knows? Maybe we'll meet Bubo again. Let's see, can we look at the brochure? Let there be peace forever, mental institution for ill and damaged minds. We are waiting for you. Call us from Clawville 555-966. Just follow the Asylum Road East.
You're the best, Bubo.
All right, looks like it's time to go home and call the number?
We had to gather ourselves, take a deep breath, and think over what we knew so far. What the chickens had I got myself into?
What the chickens?
What did I drag
Okay, now
Molly
that's
into?
that's not trying.
Moreover, what had we pulled the whole city into? This was going to be one of those cases that changed things forever. But I wasn't worried about myself. It didn't matter to me. Too many pieces had been plucked off this old rooster. But Marty's different. He's too good of a bird and too good of a cop to end up like me.
Like, if he had said, what in the furry hell had I gotten myself into? That's consistent with something he said for the entire game. What the cluck had I got myself into?
A secret twin brother? Sonny, I'm starting to feel like we're really in a detective novel. A cheap one.
Yeah, but...
Talk about being
Marty,
self-aware.
What is it, Boss Bird?
I think it's best if we go our separate ways.
What? Are you joking? I know you have a weak sense of humor, but there's a limit to everything.
It's the
I'm not
chicken
joking,
police,
Marty.
not the Sonny Featherland
I
story.
certainly hope you are.
Whatever comes next, you don't need to be mixed up in it. You have someone to go home to.
Guys, damn it, Sonny. Can you hear yourself? What do you think? I endured all this to give up now? What do you take me for? No, pal. You're not getting rid of me so easily.
I just want you to keep your career and your life intact, you moron. Just accept it, shake my hand, and go home. Your wife, Laura's waiting for you.
One more word, Sonny, and I swear I'm gonna bash your beak in. I risked my life more than once tonight. You know why?
No, why?
Because we're a team. We have been a team for almost a decade. Now, I don't care what Blood Boil says or whatever's on a goddamn piece of paper. We're the chicken police, Sonny. And we always will be.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. You're right.
We're gonna go to that insane asylum and wrap this shit up fast and clean. Yeah, just like you said, even if it kills us.
Thanks, Marty. Without you, I'd most likely already be sleeping the big sleep.
Or to quote a classic American film, drain them of all of their blood, even if it kills them. Bonus points if you know which movie I'm talking about. Double bonus points if it turns out that quote is slightly inaccurate and you have the actual quote for me.
Birds of a feather flock together, right?
Like you say, partner.
Let's drop this before you start crying on me, okay?
I hope not.
You almost just did.
Ah, clock off, Marty.
That's the spirit, the Sonny I know and hate.
Let's see, 555-996? I think it was. I wonder if there are like secret phone numbers you can dial. $555-966. Huh.
What do you think, Marty?
What? You care what I think? You must have hit your head pretty bad.
Stop fooling around, Marty. I'm serious. So what do you think? About everything?
Well, I think we're in deep shit. But to be honest, Ibn Wessler is in deeper shit.
Do you think he really murdered his brother? But why? And what does it have to do with Natasha and the threats?
Doesn't add up yet. Something's missing. Let's visit the institution and try to find out what we can about this Albert Wessler fella.
Or maybe I just go to the institution.
If
Oh,
he's the
there we
dead
go.
body, we've got
I was
to know
assuming
what
I
the
would call
motive
them, but
was.
nope.
If we can't, and if he's still alive, we gotta ask him directly.
And what do you think, Sonny?
I think Ibn, Albert, and Natasha are the three key players in this case, and that all of it has something to do with the brothel.
And the fact that Natasha used to be a courtesan?
Yeah, that too.
Listen, Sonny, about Molly.
Oh, just forget it, Marty, okay? She's not part of my life anymore, so that's exactly what I'm gonna do. Forget it. Let's concentrate on the case, and on making it out alive, and helping Natasha too.
Whatever you say, Boss Bird. So you think Natasha's really in danger?
Yes,
It could
especially
be,
if my
or she
theory
could
on
even be
Albert is
behind
correct.
everything.
No, you don't believe that.
I'm not sure what I believe, Marty. Let's see. Things got mixed up at the brothel.
All right, possible suspects. We got Zavis. No, Ibn. And could be important, but not now. That's it. Ibn found out that Natasha was a secret spy. Natasha worked at the brothel, and Zavis wanted to keep it secret.
Natasha used to work there, that's obvious. And Ibn wanted to keep that a secret. A secret, it seems, somebody else had to pay for.
Zibin killed someone to keep the secret on... No, Zip didn't kill it. Zip dealt with the body and kept the wristband for himself.
Somebody died for that secret. Zip hid the body, but he kept the wristband.
And then that was Wessler's twin.
Who could it belong to?
Somebody from the royal family! Ibn Wessler was just a puppet of Zavis all along! The dead body was Ibn Wessler himself, but then who was the real killer?
The dead body was almost certainly Albert Wessler, a resident of an insane asylum. But why did he have to die?
There is no dead body. The whole thing was just a hoax. Well, we've solved the case. Good job, us. We can go home now. Oh, we are home. That was fast. I guess we talked to Marty because the travel option has been grayed out.
Okay, so the picture is more or less clear. Ibn's got his brother killed because he learned Natasha worked in a brothel.
No, that could be the case, but I believe the roots go deeper than that.
Which we'd only learn if we talk to him. I mean, if the corpse isn't him, because then we'd need a medium.
Which would be exciting, but maybe it's enough if we ask the doctor who treated him.
That too, yeah. But where's the fun in that?
Okay, now do I? Do I call the hospital? If this works now, then... Okay.
So what do you think happened to the corpse?
Probably been eaten. Horrible to think about, but even if half of what they say about the hive is true, starvation,
So we're just assuming they ate the corpse.
predation.
You're telling me. Makes my feathers stand on end when I think about what goes on in there. And we pretend we don't know about it. As if Roachtown isn't even part of Clawville.
This won't end well. I'm afraid soon Clawville's gonna burn once again, and because of its own foolishness.
Find out more in Chicken Police Into the Hive.
Well, that's if another meat war doesn't break out first. 'Cause then, the whole wilderness will burn.
Lovely prospects, eh?
Either way, it was a damn clever move for Wessler to hide the body in Roachtown.
It's the only place no one will ever find it.
Like the belly of a burning ship.
Oh, I think that was an intentional red herring.
Sounds about right. So where exactly is this place?
A few hours' drive from here, in the middle of nowhere. It's a creepy old mansion, of course.
You think it's a good idea to go there? What if it's a trap?
I told you.
Why
we
would it
can
be a
still go
trap?
back.
How would
Wouldn't you love that? No such luck, boss. If I get killed or locked
how would
up
they know
forever
that
in
we'd
an
be going to the
asylum,
insane asylum?
That's gonna be on you.
Thanks, pal. I deserved that.
You still trust her?
I never trusted her, Marty.
I mean, you believe her?
I'm sure she was honestly afraid. People don't fake it that easy. But I can understand why she didn't tell us about her former profession.
Or how she knows Molly.
Yeah, that too. And the death of Deborah complicated things even more.
Hey, Sonny, she didn't seduce you, right? I mean, Natasha.
Ah, don't be stupid, Marty. My old ticker hasn't been beating for a long time. Not that way, anyway.
Yeah, all right, boss.
That's more than I needed to know about you, Sonny.
Who'd have thought? I believed that little rat. I thought he'd changed. Idiot.
There's a
Idiot.
point when it's too late
I
to
can't
change,
believe
Marty.
he just
It's
ratted
past, cut
everybody out.
up. Whatever he did since then doesn't matter.
Not much.
Hiding
Exactly.
corpses?
And that's the
Idiot.
case with us, too. That's why I won't back down. Even though a voice in my head is screaming right now, leave it all to hell and have another drink.
Yeah, I don't think we can
Maybe
really
we
back
should
off
do that.
now.
Maybe we should.
Okay, I'm not entirely sure what the game expects. Oh, I had no idea I could do that.
Okay, so the picture is more or less clear.
No, that
Which we don't...
All right, let's make sure that I got that number right. It's 555966.
you're the bet. I've had enough stimulation.
You know, I thought about it multiple times that you might be Meredith H. Marble.
We've
Oh.
met her on a number of occasions, Marty. Remember? Her real name is Susie.
Maybe Susie's just an actress you hired.
You've read too much of that cheap garbage, Marty. There's no conspiracy theory. Susie's just a money-hungry little dame who made a fortune off of us. That's all.
Yeah, you're disappointing.
I know. When all of this is over,
So how do I...
It would be best to board it up. It'd go well with this rundown neighborhood.
it may be run down, but somehow I still feel like it's honest.
Sure, you could live in Cockroach Town. That's an honest place, too. Has a similar stink.
Believe me, Marty, I thought about it.
Why am I not surprised?
I'm missing something.
A stack of paper.
It's not to talk to Marty.
Thanks for everything.
Don't mention his...
Heh.
Damn right.
A closet. I still have nightmares about the Great Fire.
Really? Were you alive then? How old are you exactly?
I was 3. And maybe it's not even a true memory, just the collective memory of the city. I see the flames. I see the burning buildings. And I hear the screams.
Hey, wait a minute. I thought you weren't born in Clawville. Aren't you from Averia?
Exactly, Marty. We were just visiting Clawville when the fire broke out.
I'm surprised you ever returned.
Well, maybe that's the reason I did return, Marty. It's like when someone falls in love with their captor, you know? Somehow, I feel like this is my place. No matter how much suffering it brings, Clawville's fate is intertwined with mine.
Heavy stuff.
One second while I look up and see what I'm missing, what I'm supposed to do that I am not figuring out just by looking at the game itself.
Hello. You've
Oh,
come to
finally.
SRB Peace Forever Mental Institution for Ill and Damaged Minds. What can I do for you, sir? Or madam?
Well, I'd like to inquire about a patient who I believe is being treated at your institution. His name is Albert Wessler.
I'm sorry, sir, but I can't give out that information if you don't have the password given to relatives. Do you have one?
Unfortunately, I don't have that. I'm not a relative. I'm calling from the Clawville Police Department.
Oh, I see. In that case, officer, I'd advise you to visit our institution personally. Our director and I would be happy to answer your questions.
Thank you, miss. I guess I'll do that.
We'll welcome you with open arms, sir. Have yourself a beautiful, starlit night.
Oh, thanks.
That was very
Goodbye.
suspicious.
See you soon.
That was extremely suspicious.
So,
We have to go there.
the thought gives me goosebumps.
Chicken bumps aren't good enough for you?
Ha ha ha.
Also, it's clear that they don't have any. The medical community doesn't have any HEPA protection in this world.
So, I get the couch?
It'd be better if I called Lewis. He'll open up a room for you to sleep in.
Whew, great idea.
And what was Lewis's number? Let's see. Do I have his number written down? Anywhere. Do I have it in my notes? Do you remember what Lewis's
Sorry,
number
Phil,
was?
Don't worry about it.
Thanks.
It's been so long since I've had to use it. Okay, I think the walkthrough I was looking at had Lewis's number. It's 555932. Wow. I don't know, maybe the game was expecting me to write that down somewhere. Although I guess you could say that's one of those like quality of life things, like having maybe like a list of phone number pops up to the right of the phone that gives you all of the phone numbers that you've used. That way you don't have to remember every single phone number you run into or where it might show up in the course of the story or in your notes. It might be in my notes
Hey,
somewhere.
Lewis, it's me again.
Oh, hello, Sonny. What's up?
Were you sleeping, pal?
Me? Oh, I wasn't. Anyway, I'm always at your service.
Would you open up a room for Marty?
Naturally, Sonny.
Thanks, Lewis. I'm not even gonna say it.
I will. You owe me one.
Yeah.
Off to the insane asylum past the Times River. Chapter 4. Farewell, my lovely.
I slept like I used to sleep years ago. Like a miner or a soldier. Empty. Dead tired. Then I saw Tessa, my darling little daughter. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't recall her face. I reached out to her, but she just kept getting further and further away. Then I saw Molly. But she wasn't real, just the ghost of a memory. "I'm here," I cried, but all I heard was laughter. Not hers. "Who's there?" Suddenly, she appeared. Natasha. Just stood there laughing, but her eyes were cold. Then she said something. "Painted red, painted red, painted red."
Oh, that's why they call it that.
Nothing more. I looked at Marty and I saw the same thing in his eyes as he probably saw in mine. It's time to hit the brakes, to turn back, go home and forget about all of this. Of course, I stepped on the gas instead.
To an insane asylum with a strangely welcoming
Honestly,
receptionist.
I wasn't expecting anything good, but this...
Ooh, just like a horror movie.
I was thinking the same.
Appearances can be deceiving.
Let's hope so.
Oh, the receptionist is a giraffe. This is a very royalist painting, with the benevolent King Fox giving gifts to their children.
This picture...
It's very...
special?
Also note the color. Like the fact that this painting is entirely, this mural is entirely in color, despite the fact that everything else is black and white.
Even if you manage to escape, there's nothing but hills and forests for 100 miles.
Imagine how many poor lunatic ghosts must haunt those woods.
Ooh, Sonny, you're creeping me out.
Imagine just how many crazy ghosts in them there woods.
This guy seems strangely familiar to me.
You don't say. You've been treated here too. That would explain a lot.
Oh, don't be stupid. I'm serious.
Is that
Take a
the
closer
cat, the
look.
guy on the
No.
port?
Well,
No, it can't be. Are you telling me it's him? M.B. Davis himself?
I'm sure of it, pal. It seems the gossip was true. The eternal king of jazz in a madhouse.
Oh, no, no, no. The poor devil. We should go to reception first. Let them know we're here.
Ah, like an angel from heaven, isn't she?
Yeah, half of her's still up there, I think.
That's rude.
Oh, boo-hoo.
Of all the great wild ones,
Greetings, miss.
is it really you?
Well, yes.
Yes, it really is you, the chicken police.
I'm afraid so.
Of all that's furry and plumy, that's fantastic. Oh my goodness.
Miss, we'd like to ask...
Please, don't be scared. I'm just really excited. You know, I've read every book about you and your adventures, and I even collected newspaper articles when I was a little girl.
Indeed.
You can't imagine what an honor it is to meet you in person.
We really...
Oh God, oh God, oh God. Take a deep breath, Miranda. Take a deep breath.
Are you okay, miss?
Yes, I am. I just needed
I
some...
like how the portrait is
air.
just of her
So,
neck.
Dear detectives, Santino and Martin, what can I do for you?
Well, miss, we have some questions, if you don't mind.
I'd love to answer all of your questions, detectives.
All right. I don't know what achievement that was for. Tell me about this
Say,
insane
miss,
asylum.
what can you tell us about this place?
Our institution was standing even before the Great Meat War, and during the war, it was transformed into a military hospital. Since then, we are relentlessly working on treating injured minds under the leadership of Dr. Quetzal, the famous specialist.
The place seems pretty empty. Do many people work here?
We have 32 residents and 7 nurses, including me. We also have a 3-person maintenance and cleaning staff, and, of course, the heart and soul of our institution, Dr. Quetzal himself.
I see. Now, this Dr. Quetzal, is he the director here?
Exactly. Director, scientist, researcher, patron, and doctor. And even a friend.
Okay, so I went on a little bit of a rabbit hole in regards to the voice actors of this game, and thinking that I might have recognized the voice of Miranda, but actually what I really should have is recognized the voice of Monica, the receptionist over at the police station, is voiced by Devora Wild, who voiced. I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3 yet, so I don't know how you pronounce Lazel. I don't know how to pronounce that character's name, but she voices that character from Baldur's Gate 3. And is Monica in the police station in Chicken Police.
Quite a guy.
He certainly is.
And apparently the voice actor who does the voice of Sonny Featherland also voices Dr. Quetzal. Dr. Sisuus Quetzalcoatl.
So who is this Dr. Quetzal exactly?
He's a world-famous researcher of the mind, Mr. Featherland. He published countless books in the fields of psychology and psychotherapy.
I'm pretty sure you can count how many books he's published.
Psycho what?
Unraveling the mind. It's the most crucial mission of the century, Mr. McChicken.
That's really good to know.
So this doctor's some celebrity, right? Does he usually meet other important persons?
I'm not sure I know what you mean.
Well, like Mr. Hobart Wessler, for example.
Ah, yes. That's something you should ask the doctor himself, but unfortunately, I don't think he has time right now.
He's swamped, is he?
Exactly, Mr. Featherland. He is very, very, very busy. All the time.
I thought so. Now, what can you say about this, miss? Have you seen anything like it?
Of course. Our residents wear these for identification. But how did you come by it? They only wear them inside the institution.
Huh. I see.
The wristband
So a corpse was
does
not
belong
meant
to one
to
of our
have
residents,
the wristband.
but I'm afraid I'm not allowed to tell you more due to regulations.
Oh, come on, Miranda. It's us, the Chicken Police.
Yeah, lean into the
Sorry,
fame.
I can't.
Miranda, this case is a matter of life and death. Lives are in your hands.
All right. All right. I'll do it. Albert Wessler. The patient's name is Albert Thaddeus Wessler.
This is what we expected.
Just as we thought.
Thank you, Miranda. We'll never forget this.
Please, don't make me blush. And don't tell anyone you heard it from me.
Oh, we won't. I promise.
So when can we talk to Mr. Wessler?
I need to ask Dr. Quetzal. Please wait here.
Thank you.
Do I actually wait? In real time?
We need to let them know we're here first.
I did. Or can I just take the stairs?
Dr. Quetzal will see you.
Oh,
He's waiting for you in his office. Up the stairs, all the way down the hall, until the last door.
What a surprise. It's enough to mention Wessler's name and all the doors are open.
I wouldn't want to get mixed up in this, but do you think Albert is in danger?
I think he's dead.
What do you mean?
We haven't heard from him since he disappeared, and we're really, really worried.
I see. We don't know yet, miss, but let's hope for the best.
Great wild ones protect him.
Where is he?
No idea, Marty.
The smell of all that's furry. I'll never get used to it.
Well, reptiles have a disgusting body odor, Marty, but they feel exactly the same about us.
Unless Albert is working with Dr. Quetzal to get revenge on Ibn, in which case we're walking into a trap. Oh,
Great
hello.
wild ones, you scared the hell out of me.
I already sensed your arrival from afar. You know, snakes have a different sense of smell, and birds used to be our prey once upon a time.
Well, yeah. Luckily, we're living in civilized times.
Lucky. Please,
I mean,
take a seat.
we're worried about a
How can
second
I
meat
help you,
war, so
gentlemen?
maybe we aren't that civilized?
Your office is rather Puritan. Simple, I mean.
Ain't that the truth?
Well, yes. I can't let my mind wander from my work. I only keep what's essential in my office.
I see. That makes sense.
What about your stack of books that you have leaning on an angle?
Why do you have bars on your windows?
Because it's a room like all the others, and I'm just an animal too, like all our residents.
With the significant difference of you being a doctor and not a patient, am I right?
It's not as big of a difference as you'd think.
I feel like with Dr. Quetzal's voice, there's specific voices in this game that I feel as though either they try too hard to lean towards an idea or a stereotype. Like with the Komodo dragon, I forget the character's name, earlier on in the game, they lean too hard on like the Komodo dragon character being an Asian stereotype. With Ursula's character, they lean too hard that she's a person of color. And she kind of sounds like she just kind of walked off the set of a 1970s blaxploitation film. Like with Dr. Quetzal, like they're trying to lean towards the idea that he's this pompous professor-like character. And you have that, like, it's not quite Hannibal Lecter, but it's that it's not as big of a difference as you think. I'm very smart. I'm very intelligent. Look at my works, ye mighty. And I feel like it's going a little bit too much. Like a little bit... Not necessarily too much. It's just not as interesting. Like, I feel like if you just went with a more normal, like less pompous, less lofty voice and just went with like... And just emphasize the S's because you're a snake. You're not really trying to... It's not as big of a difference as you think. Just focus on the S's part. Yes, I've been running this institution. This has been my crowning joy for quite a long time. Like, don't really focus too much on... Like, I think it's that, the pompous air of him just kind of makes him seem less like a character and more like a cliche.
An isle of reason in a sea of insanity.
Insanity is such a strong word, and it's mostly an abstract idea. Where does insanity start, and how long is one not insane? Interesting questions. Am I normal, or are you? Maybe neither of us.
You see, that's something I think about a lot nowadays.
If you like, I can give you an appointment.
Oh, this is your chance, Sonny. Don't miss it. We're already here.
Marty, clock up.
I'll take a pass for now. Dr. Quetzal.
To be honest, gentlemen, your visit is anything but a surprise. I could even say I was expecting it.
What an introduction.
Please forgive me. I have the bad habit of immediately getting into the middle of things. How very rude of me. My name is Dr. Sessuous Quetzalcoatl, but most call me Dr. Quetzal to keep it simple.
The name is Santino Featherland, and this is my partner, Martin McChicken, from
the predatory division of the Clawville Police Department. Your fame is one step ahead of you.
We're used to it.
Certainly.
We have some questions about one of your patients, if you don't mind. We'd like to talk to him.
What? We've already been told that he's not here.
Please be specific, detective.
Look, Doctor, we're too tired to play cat and mouse. Not that snake and chicken sounds any better.
Very funny, I must say. Just what I expected from you two detectives.
We know you know it's about Albert Wessler, Ibn Wessler's secret twin. Ever since we've said his name, all the doors have miraculously opened. That's what we call a bullseye.
That also saves time on design if you're able to just get to the boss man. You don't have to worry about talking to anybody else in between.
Well, yes. Why should I deny it? We're talking about a rather illustrious patient here, who's also a very particular medical case.
Now, that's much more interesting. So, are you willing to talk about him?
Because Albert, regrettably, has disappeared, and you are police detectives, I have no reason.
So we have a little bit of a reasoning as to why they're willing to talk so much.
Service. But you must understand, I can't disclose information about my patients.
Not even if it's a matter of life and death?
Everything's a matter of life and death in here, detective. This is a hospital, even if it's primarily for the mind, not the body.
Still, I'd like to give the impossible a try.
Please, detective, just do your job, and I'll do mine.
All right, let's ask about Albert Thaddeus Wessler.
How long was Albert a resident of the institution?
For quite some time. His first symptoms surfaced in his teens. Depression,
In his
panic
teens.
attacks, and schizophrenia.
Was he brought here immediately after the first signs that something wasn't right?
You know, the biggest problem with an opinion on insanity is that animals are ashamed of it. That's the reason our institution stands out here in the middle of nowhere.
Speaking of which, how do the employees get to work on a daily basis? Do they have to more or less live on site? Like, this is 6 hours away from Clawville. It's not exactly very convenient for a commute.
Because animals would rather hide what they're afraid to face.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Also, I feel like it's interesting casting the actor who plays as Sonny and the actor who plays as Dr. Quetzal as the same actor, because that means that in the mental institution, Sonny is talking to himself.
As far as I know, the Wessler family wasn't exceptionally wealthy.
Indeed, they were rather poor, but we offer our services gratis.
Then how do you sustain yourselves?
Yeah, that's an excellent
By the
question.
grace of the treasury of King Hector III, of course.
So they're
I
royalists.
wouldn't have guessed that.
My family and the royal dynasty had always been on good terms, Mr. Santino.
Which is why we have the color mural of King Fox. Whatever his name is. Yeah, so there's only now one character we haven't met, and then Albert Wessler. We can interrogate him, but let's ask him about the
What
insane
kind of a
asylum.
place is this exactly? I assume it wasn't built as an insane asylum.
It used to be a mansion. Construction started during the occupation in 622. Then it stood empty for almost a century, until finally it went to the crown of Clawville when Hector's great-grandfather took the throne. The rest is history.
How long have you been working here?
I've worked here for more than 30 years, but it's been in my family's possession for almost 150 years.
So if I count correctly, as soon as it went to the crown, it was seized by your family.
That's almost accurate, Mr. Featherland.
What a lovely inheritance.
A mansion in the middle of nowhere? What do you know about Madame Zavis?
Tell me, Doctor, do you know Madame Zavas?
Just
Zavas.
like everybody else, I've heard of her, but I never had the pleasure of meeting her in person. I'm sure she's an interesting case.
I don't know what kind of accent this
You can be sure about
they're
that.
doing for Dr.
I'd gladly get
Quetzal.
you two together if I had the chance. A spare cell would suit her very much.
Is that so?
As it turns out, she likes small, narrow, secret places.
Oh, I see. What a coincidence.
All right, the interrogation begins.
Dr. Quetzal's a real mystery. But I can turn that to my advantage. I just need to focus on the strangest pieces of the puzzle.
So when did Albert become a resident of your institute?
So when did Albert become a resident of your institute?
Albert and Hobart, or Ibn as you call him, arrived here almost exactly 4 years ago.
Could you describe that day more specifically?
It was not long after New Year's Eve, maybe the first week of the year, if I'm not mistaken. It was sleeting that day. Wind was banging incessantly on the windows. The power was going out for short
That's pretty
periods
actually
of
specific.
time.
What was your first impression of them?
I already knew the Wessler name. I knew who they were. Or at least I knew one of them, Hobart Wessler. He was famous. Gangster, moneylender, celebrity, lover.
He's famous
And
for that?
Albert?
He was new to me, an invisible gray ghost. The family had tried to keep his existence a secret.
Why?
Because they were ashamed of him, of course, Mr. Featherland. That's how it usually is.
What was your first impression of him?
He was silent, but observed everything that surrounded him. His eyes were constantly moving, never stopped for a second.
That sounds
Was he
exhausting.
afraid?
I wouldn't say so. It seemed to me that he wanted to move into our institution voluntarily. It looked as if he couldn't wait to be here, alone, locked up, in silence.
Away from people who judged him and were ashamed of him?
Didn't you think of that as unusual?
Of course I did, but who am I to judge? It was rather special treatment.
What kind of special treatment did Albert get?
What kind of special treatment did Albert get?
You know, if an institution like ours has to accept a Wessler as a guest, there's bound to be some favoritism.
And complete secrecy, I guess.
Yes, but that's the case for all our patients, Mr. Featherland.
Of course. So in what way did he receive more than the others?
Basically, we don't admit anyone into our institution without a complete and thorough prior assessment. In the case of Albert, we put that aside.
No, we just
Didn't
showed
you
up.
know if he had anything wrong with him?
Initially, no. He was more of a guest than a patient.
How did you see Albert when you first met?
How did you see Albert when you first met?
Albert was shy and reserved, like a ghost. He almost never touched anything. It was evident he was exceptionally intelligent. He measured and observed everything around him.
What else?
He was delicate and graceful, almost like a woman. Yes. He was rather feminine. He was an artist, Mr. Featherland, a magnificent painter, and rather good writer, too. Sometimes I even heard him sing.
Why did he have to be locked up?
I asked the same thing at first.
Are you telling me Albert had multiple personalities? And like, each version of Albert was doing these different things. Like, there was a version of Albert that was a painter, a version of Albert that was the singer.
Are you telling me Albert had multiple personalities?
We found out very quickly that there was no other reason for the cause of his seizures. He had a cold and calculating personality who sometimes, especially on stormy days, took the reins over their shared...
Is the end of the game going to have a stormy day? A stormy...
Yes, Mr. Featherland.
It's not New
but
Year's
they
Eve
started
anymore.
to
It's probably New Year's Day by
intensify
now.
After Albert left our institution for the first time.
He did what? Left the institution? More than once?
Also, so there was the initial thought that this might be related to the bloody New Year's Eve a year ago. But I feel like that was a red herring.
Oh, yes, Mr. Featherland. Albert left the institution on several occasions until the last time, when he failed to come back.
Quetzal's not only very observant, but he's addicted to details. I must focus on that if I want to get closer to the truth. Focus. Addicted to details.
All right. So Albert could just walk in, walk out. How could you let Albert leave the place? When and why did Albert leave the institution for the first time? And here we go. When and why did Albert leave the institution for the first time?
When and why did Albert leave the institution for the first time?
It was about 2 years ago. Mr. Hobart Wessler appeared and demanded we let his brother go free. Naturally, we obliged. We had no idea if we'd ever see him again.
But you did.
He returned the same day. Albert was ecstatic. He was unrestrained. I could almost say happy.
So it's a 6-hour drive from Clawville to the institution. From the institution to Clawville. It's a 6-hour drive from Clawville back to the institution. That's 12 hours.
That was unusual for him.
I had never seen him like that before, Mr. Featherland. He just smiled and stared at the empty wall for hours.
Did he get serviced by one of the ladies at the Sweltering Nile? Was it Natasha Katsenko?
Did he ever tell you what happened to him outside?
Of course he did. Albert and I had a good relationship. He was working on a painting for his brother.
Was it a painting of a lovely lady cat?
Oh, exactly. So you already
And we have a
know
piece of
about
that painting. So that painting that we have the piece of is from Albert. So he left the institution, drove 6 hours to Clawville, did a painting, came back 6 hours of driving later, and it was the same day. I'm going to make a rule from now on. I'm going to forget about like the time required on that one day.
Yes, Dr. Quetzal.
I think I've made my point. So Albert left on many occasions to continue working on the painting.
So Albert left on many occasions to continue working on the painting.
Exactly, Mr. Featherland. Every time he came back, he was like a different person. But unfortunately,
Maybe Albert
his
felt
seizures
that
also
Natasha belonged to him
multiplied and became
instead of by
more
Eben.
dangerous.
And as his
More
mind
dangerous.
was unraveling,
Albert was hurting himself, and on one occasion, he even tried to hurt me. It was unprecedented. It seemed his confined personality was taking over their shared mind entirely, piece by piece.
Do you think the painting caused it?
Not the painting, Mr. Featherland.
but the subject.
Its subject.
Exactly. He was obsessed, right until that fateful day when he returned to us for the last time.
What exactly happened that day, Doctor?
It wasn't Hobart who brought his brother back that day, but two of his gorillas. Not literally, I mean. And Albert was in a terrible,
Was it a bobcat
terrible
and
state.
a
What happened to
bull?
him?
I don't like to talk about that, Mr. Featherland.
It could be vital to the case, Dr. Quetzal. Don't back down.
Oh, you're right. There's no use turning back now. So, Albert's tongue was torn out, or cut off, I don't know exactly, and he was blinded in one eye, or rather, one of his eyes was missing entirely.
So, in theory, if my suspicion is correct in that Albert killed Eben Wessler, is that Albert had swapped Eben for him at that point, cutting off Eben Wessler's tongue to prevent him from talking.
So you're saying Albert was brought back horribly mutilated?
Yes. And they didn't give any explanation as to what had happened. They simply told me
Oh
it
yeah,
was
he just fell down the stairs.
accident.
Dr. Quetzal is cold and professional, but he's also very confused. Maybe it's cruel, but I must exploit his vulnerability if I want to learn everything about Albert. Focus, confused.
Let's see, the two fellows who brought Albert back. Did you examine his wounds thoroughly? You didn't believe Albert had an accident, is that right?
You didn't believe Albert had an accident, is that right?
Of course not. I'm not naive. I knew immediately that Albert had been severely battered, and I was sure it had been his brother, Hobart.
Well, we don't know that, Dr. Quetzal.
Would you defend a monster?
Take it easy, Doc. One of the most critical elements of my job is not to make assumptions.
You're absolutely right, Mr. Featherland. I'm sorry I got
I
carried
think that was the wrong
away.
option.
It's all right. Happens to everyone.
Ah. Pull yourself together, Doctor! What was Albert's condition after the incident?
Pull yourself together, Doctor. What was Albert's condition after the incident?
Mind your tone, detective.
Sorry, Doc, but I can see you're disturbed by these memories.
How could I not be? I'm not a monster. We're talking about a mutilated animal here.
So, what was he like after the incident?
Even more silent than ever. No surprise, I suppose. He was not only silent in words, but also in his soul and spirit.
What do you mean by that?
He never painted anything again, and his seizures completely stopped.
But that was a -5?
What happened then? How did Albert disappear?
A few weeks later, Hobart came to visit Albert one more time. Albert had been in terrible condition by then. We even had to transfer him to another cell, a more safe one.
What did Hobart do during the visit?
He didn't do anything. He just sat and watched his brother, who was in an almost vegetative state by then.
Couldn't you manage to draw anything out of him? You or Hobart?
Nothing. For a while, he was trying to signal something. Perhaps he was too afraid. And most likely his fingers had been broken too, so he couldn't even write.
Doctor, you didn't even check to see if his fingers were okay?
Do you think Hobart could have killed Albert?
It's horrible to say it, but I'm sure of it.
How did he disappear in the end? Did someone come for him?
That's what's most eerie about it all, Mr. Featherland. He simply disappeared. His door, which only I had a key for, was open.
Did anyone see anything?
Which I think if Albert spent so much time here, he might have figured out a way to get around that.
No one. We interrogated the staff, even the patients. He simply vanished off the face of the wilderness.
I think Albert just had Ibn killed to, like, put him out of his misery.
Unfortunately, I have a hunch. Thank you, Doctor. You've been a great help.
Oh, well, I'm glad I could be of help. But please, I now must attend to my work.
We understand, Doctor. Thank you.
You know, I'm gonna accept it. And I think I'm gonna stop here for the night. Got any suggestions for someone to play next? Leave them down in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and have yourselves a good night.